Jake Miller woke up in a room that glowed with purple light. His head hurt and he could not remember how he got there. The walls were made of some kind of smooth stone that he had never seen before. He sat up slowly and looked around. The bed he was on felt soft but strange, like it was adjusting to his body. A tall figure stood in the doorway. She had blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. Her eyes were large and silver, with no pupils that Jake could see. She wore a crown made of crystals on her head that caught the light and broke it into tiny rainbows. The alien woman was at least 7 feet tall with long limbs and fingers that seemed to have an extra joint. Jake backed away until he hit the wall behind him. The alien woman smiled. Her teeth were white and sharp, but her smile seemed kind. She spoke in a voice that sounded like music. "My love, you have returned to me at last." Jake shook his head. His mouth felt dry. "I think you have the wrong guy." The alien woman came closer. Her long dress made of something like silk moved around her legs as she walked. It seemed to change color slightly with each step. "No mistake, you are Zarek, my husband. You were lost to me 5 Earth years ago. My name is Jake Miller. I am from Ohio. I work at a computer company. I am not your husband. I am not Zarek." The alien queen sat on the edge of the bed. Her silver eyes looked sad. "The humans changed your memory, but I found you. I am Queen Lyra of the Stellari people, and you are my husband." Jake did not know what to say. He tried to remember the last thing before waking up here. He had been walking home from work. It had been raining. He remembered stepping into a puddle and cursing because his shoes were new. Then nothing. "Where am I?" "You are on my ship. We are in orbit around Earth. I have searched for you since you went missing. The council said you were dead, but I never gave up hope." Jake looked at his hands. They looked normal. Human. Pale skin with a few freckles. Short fingers with nails that needed trimming. How could he be an alien king? "If I am your husband, why do I look human?" Queen Lyra touched his face gently. Her fingers were cool against his skin. "The Earth scientists found you after your ship crashed. They changed you to look like them. They took your memories." That sounds like a movie plot. Like science fiction. Queen Lyra took something from a pocket hidden in her dress. It was a small device that looked like a glass cube. Inside the cube, light moved like water, swirling in blues and purples. She held it up between her long blue fingers. "This is a memory crystal. It holds our memories. Would you like to see?" Jake was not sure if he should trust her, but he was curious. And what choice did he have? He nodded. Queen Lyra placed the crystal in his hand. As soon as it touched his skin, the room disappeared. He was standing in a garden with strange plants that glowed. Some were tall with bulbs that pulsed with light. Others were low to the ground with leaves that shimmered. The sky was dark purple with 3 moons of different sizes. Queen Lyra stood next to him, but she looked younger. Her face had fewer lines. Her crown was smaller. They were holding hands and laughing about something. Then the scene changed. He saw himself, but different. His skin had a slight blue tint. His eyes were more silver than brown. He was taller, with longer limbs like the other aliens. He wore clothes made of the same material as Queen Lyra's dress. He was speaking to a group of tall blue aliens in a language Jake did not understand. Yet somehow he knew he was giving orders about a mission. More scenes flashed by. A wedding ceremony with lights floating in the air around them. Flying a ship through space, his hands on controls that responded to his thoughts. Standing on a planet with red grass and 2 suns. Arguing with other aliens in a big room with a table made of the same crystal as the memory device. Then the memories stopped and Jake was back in the purple room. Queen Lyra was watching him with hope in her silver eyes. "Those are not my memories." But even as he said it, something felt familiar about what he had seen. Like a dream he had forgotten until now. "They are buried deep inside you. The humans could not erase everything." Jake stood up. His legs felt shaky. "I need to go home." Queen Lyra stood too. She was much taller than him. You are home, Zarek. No, my home is in Ohio. I have a cat named Rocket. I have friends, a job at Smith Tech. I have tickets to a baseball game next week. A false life they made for you. The humans who found you thought you were one of them, injured and with memory loss. They gave you a name, a history, but it is not real. Jake felt angry now. His hands were shaking. You cannot just take someone and tell them their whole life is a lie. Queen Lyra nodded. I understand this is hard. I will show you more proof. She walked to the wall and waved her hand in a pattern. The wall became clear like a window. Jake gasped and stepped back. Earth hung in space below them. It looked just like the pictures from space. Blue and green and white clouds swirling across its surface. Beautiful and small. We are really in space? Yes. My ship has been searching for you for years. We found signs of your DNA pattern in what humans call Ohio 3 days ago. I came myself to find you. Jake touched the window wall. It felt cold. If I am this Zarek person, what happened to me? Why did I crash on Earth? Queen Lyra sighed. Her shoulders dropped a little. There are those among our people who did not want me to be queen. They did not want a woman ruler. They tried to kill you because you supported me. I thought they had succeeded until we found traces of your ship on Earth 2 years ago. So I am an alien king who was nearly killed and has been living as a human computer guy with fake memories for 5 years? Yes, though you were not king yet. That was to happen after our joining ceremony. Jake laughed. It sounded crazy. But he had seen the memories in the crystal, and he was standing on a spaceship looking at Earth. Unless this was all a very realistic dream, can you prove I am not human? Like with a DNA test or something? Queen Lyra nodded. We have already done this while you were sleeping. Would you like to see? Jake nodded, though he was not sure he wanted to know. Queen Lyra waved her hand again, and the wall showed different images. Charts and diagrams that Jake did not understand, but one thing was clear. The DNA pattern shown was not fully human. The outer layer of cells is human. But inside, your true nature remains. The humans could change your appearance, but not your core. That is how I found you. Jake sat back down on the bed. His whole world was turning upside down. His head was spinning with too many thoughts. What happens now? Do you just take me away from Earth? Queen Lyra shook her head. No, that is not our way. You must choose to return. Your memories must come back on their own. I cannot force you. And if they never do? If I choose to stay on Earth? Then I will respect your choice. But I hope you will give our world a chance. Give us a chance. Her voice was sad. Jake felt bad for her, even though he still did not really believe her story. Jake thought about his life on Earth. His small apartment with the leaky faucet. His boring job entering data. His few friends who he saw once a month for drinks. It was a good life, but nothing special. Nothing like being the husband of an alien queen. Can I see more of the ship? Queen Lyra smiled. Her whole face lit up. Of course. She led Jake out of the room into a hallway that curved gently. The walls were the same smooth stone with the purple light coming from strips along the floor. Other aliens moved around. All had blue skin in different shades. All were tall. They bowed to Queen Lyra as she passed. Some looked at Jake with curious eyes. They entered a large room with more window walls. Stars stretched out in all directions. Earth was visible from one side. Other aliens worked at stations with screens that floated in the air. They touched the screens with their long fingers, and the images changed. A female alien with dark blue skin approached. She was almost as tall as Queen Lyra, but more muscular. She wore some kind of uniform with symbols Jake did not recognize. My queen, is this him? Her voice was deeper than Queen Lyra's. Yes, Maya. This is Zarek, though he is called Jake now. Maya studied Jake with eyes that were more gold than silver. The resemblance is there, even in this human form. The eyes are the same. Jake felt uncomfortable being talked about like he was not there. Hi, nice to meet you. Maya seemed surprised that he spoke to her. She bowed slightly. The honor is mine, my king. I am not your king, not yet anyway. Jake looked at Queen Lyra. I need time to think about all this. Queen Lyra nodded. Of course. Maya will show you to better quarters. You are not a prisoner here. Maya led Jake down another hallway. This one had doors on both sides. They stopped at a door that slid open as they approached. Inside was a large room with more purple light. There was a bed bigger than any Jake had seen. A table with food. What looked like a bathroom through another door. These were your quarters. Before, Maya said. Call if you need anything. She left, the door sliding closed behind her. Jake sat on the edge of the big bed. He was tired. His head still hurt. But he was also excited. If what Queen Lyra said was true, his real life was far more interesting than his human one. Jake looked at the strange food on the table in his new quarters. It glowed slightly like the plants in the memory. He picked up something that looked like a blue apple and turned it in his hand. It felt cool and slightly soft. He took a small bite. It tasted like honey and mint with a hint of something he could not name. It was delicious. He finished it quickly and tried another fruit that was purple with tiny lights that pulsed inside it. This one tasted like strawberries but with a fizzy sensation. As he ate, he thought about Queen Lyra. She was beautiful in an alien way, and she clearly loved the person she thought he was. Or maybe she was just a good actor. But why would aliens from another world want to trick a normal guy from Ohio? Jake finished the meal and explored the room. The bathroom was strange with a pool instead of a shower and no toilet that he could see. There was a panel on the wall with symbols he did not understand. He touched one and water began to fill the pool. He touched another and the water stopped. He went back to the bedroom and lay back on the big bed. As he closed his eyes, more memories flashed in his mind, running through a field of glowing plants with Queen Lyra when she was younger, laughing together as they tried to catch small flying creatures that left trails of light, flying a small ship through rings around a giant planet, feeling the thrill of speed and the joy of freedom, standing on a balcony looking out over a city of crystal towers that caught the light of the 3 moons, feeling a sense of pride and belonging. Jake smiled as he drifted to sleep. Whether these were real memories or just dreams inspired by what he had seen in the crystal, he was looking forward to learning more about this alien world, and about the queen who claimed he was her long-lost husband. Jake woke to a soft chiming sound. He sat up and saw Maya standing by the door. The queen, request your presence for the morning meal. She said. Jake realized he was still wearing the same clothes from Earth, a simple button-up shirt and jeans. Do I have anything else to wear? Maya walked to a wall and pressed her hand against it. The wall slid open to reveal clothes, but not human clothes. These were made of the same shimmering material as Queen Lyra's dress. These were yours. They may not fit your human form perfectly. Jake took out a simple tunic and pants. They were light blue with silver threads running through them. They felt almost like liquid in his hands. Can you wait outside while I change? Maya nodded and left the room. Jake changed into the alien clothes. They adjusted to his body as he put them on, shrinking to fit his smaller human frame. They were the most comfortable clothes he had ever worn. He joined Maya in the hallway and she led him to a large room where Queen Lyra sat at a table with several other aliens. They all stood when Jake entered. My love, Queen Lyra said with a smile. Join us. Jake sat in the empty chair next to her. The table was full of strange food, some glowing, some moving slightly. These are my advisors, Queen Lyra said, gesturing to the others at the table. This is Nara, my chief scientist. A female alien with pale blue skin nodded to Jake. This is Kel, commander of my forces. A male alien with dark blue skin and a serious face gave Jake a slight bow. And this is Tyr, my brother. A male alien who looked similar to Queen Lyra but with sharper features stared at Jake with cold eyes. They have all been helping me search for you, Queen Lyra said. Thank you, Jake said, not knowing what else to say. They began to eat. Jake tried different foods, finding most of them delicious, though strange. The aliens spoke in their own language for a while until Queen Lyra reminded them to use Earth language for Jake. What is your plan, sister? Tyr asked. Now that you have found your lost mate. Jake will stay with us while his memories return, Queen Lyra said. Then he will decide if he wishes to return home with us. Tyr looked at Jake with those cold eyes. And if he chooses to remain human? Then we will respect his choice, Queen Lyra said firmly. Tyre did not look happy about this. The council expects us back in 7 Earth days. With or without him. I am aware of the timeline, brother. The meal continued with talk of the ship and reports from home. Jake listened but understood little of it. His mind was still trying to process everything that had happened. After the meal, Queen Lyra took Jake on a tour of the ship. It was huge with many levels and rooms. There were gardens with the glowing plants from his visions. There were rooms full of machines Jake did not understand. And there were other aliens, all with blue skin in different shades, all bowing to Queen Lyra as she passed. How many people are on this ship? Jake asked. 512, Queen Lyra said. A small exploration vessel. Small? It seems huge to me, Queen Lyra laughed. It sounded like music. Our home ships are 10 times this size. They stopped in a room with a large window looking out at Earth. The planet looked peaceful from this distance. I have a question, Jake said. If I am really this Zarek person, how did I end up looking so human? You said the Earth scientists changed me, but how? Queen Lyra sat on a bench near the window and motioned for Jake to join her. When your ship crashed, you were badly injured. The humans found you and took you to what they call a hospital. They saw that you were different, but thought you were human with genetic problems. They did surgery to fix what they thought was wrong. They gave you medicine that changed your cells over time. But how could they change an alien into a human? That seems impossible. Our people are not so different from humans in basic structure. We share many genetic patterns. This is not uncommon in the galaxy. Life evolves in similar ways on similar worlds. And my memories, how did they take those? They did not take them on purpose. Your injuries caused brain damage, and the drugs they gave you to change your body also affected your mind. They thought they were giving you medicine to help, but it made you forget who you were. Then they created new memories for you, a new identity. Who was I? Before, I mean. Queen Lyra's eyes grew sad. You were Zarek, son of the House of Tarn. You were a scientist and explorer. You were kind and brave and curious about everything. You were my mate for 3 Earth years before you disappeared. What was I doing on Earth? You were on a scientific mission to study humans. We have been observing Earth for many cycles. Humans are interesting to us. So like us in some ways, so different in others. And people tried to kill me because I supported you as queen. Queen Lyra nodded. My father was king before me. When he died, the council wanted my brother Tyr to rule, but my father had named me as his successor. You spoke for me in the council. You helped me win the throne. There were those who were not happy about this. Your brother? He did not seem pleased to see me. Tyr has accepted that I am queen, but he still carries hurt from being passed over, and he blames you for supporting me instead of him. Should I be worried about him? Queen Lyra shook her head. He is loyal to me now, and to our people. He may not like you, but he will not harm you. Jake looked out at Earth again. I have a life down there. A job, friends, a cat, I know. And I will not force you to leave it. But I ask that you give us a chance. Stay with us for the 7 days we have. Try to remember. Then decide. Jake thought about it. 7 days on an alien spaceship with a beautiful queen who claimed to be his wife. Or back to his small apartment and boring job. It was not a hard choice. I will stay for 7 days. Queen Lyra smiled and took his hand. Her touch sent a strange warmth through him. Thank you. They continued the tour, ending in a room filled with screens showing different parts of Earth. This is our observation center, Queen Lyra explained. We study humans from here. Jake looked at the screens. They showed cities and towns, forests and oceans. You can see all of Earth from here? Not all at once. But we can focus on any place. Can you show me my home? In Ohio? Queen Lyra spoke to an alien at one of the screens. The image changed to show a small apartment building. Jake recognized it as his. Can you see inside? No, we respect privacy. We only observe public spaces. Jake felt relieved. The idea of aliens watching him in his home was creepy. Queen Lyra led him to another room. This one had a large chair in the center with strange devices attached to it. This is a memory stimulator, she said. It can help bring back lost memories. Would you like to try it? Jake looked at the chair with concern. Is it safe? Yes, it only encourages your own mind to remember. It does not force or create memories. Jake sat in the chair. Queen Lyra placed a band around his head. It felt cool against his skin. Think about the memories you saw in the crystal, she said. Focus on them. Jake closed his eyes and thought about the garden with the glowing plants. The band around his head grew warm. Suddenly he was there again. But this time he could smell the plants, could feel the soft ground under his feet, could hear sounds in the distance. It was more real than before. He saw Queen Lyra younger laughing as she ran through the garden. He was chasing her, feeling happy and free. Then he was flying the ship again. He could feel the controls responding to his thoughts, could see stars streaking by as he flew faster. Then he was standing before the council, older aliens with stern faces. He was speaking passionately about Queen Lyra's right to rule. He could feel his conviction, his belief in her. Then he was in a smaller ship. Alarms were blaring. The ship was damaged. Earth grew larger in the view screen. He was trying to control the crash. The next morning, Jake woke to find new clothes laid out for him. These were even more elaborate than the simple tunic and pants from yesterday. The fabric seemed to change color as it moved, shifting between blue and silver. After he dressed, Maya came to escort him to breakfast. As they walked through the halls, Jake noticed more aliens stopping to look at him. Some whispered to each other. Others bowed deeply. "Why are they looking at me like that?" Jake asked Maya. "Word has spread that you have returned," Maya said. "Many believe you will become king when we return home." "King? I thought Queen Lyra was already ruling. She is queen. You would be king consort, her equal in ruling our people." Jake felt a weight settle on him. These people expected him to be their king, but he was just a guy from Ohio. Or was he? In the dining room, Queen Lyra waited with her brother Tyr and several others Jake had not met before. "Jake, these are members of the High Council who traveled with us," Queen Lyra said. Elder Zara and Elder Vex, two older aliens with pale blue skin, nodded to Jake. Their eyes were sharp and evaluating. "They wish to meet you," Queen Lyra continued, "to see for themselves that you have returned." Elder Zara spoke in a creaky voice. "You look very human." "I am human," Jake said, then hesitated. "At least I think I am." "You are Stellari," Elder Vex said firmly. "Changed in form, but still one of us." The breakfast was tense. The council members asked Jake many questions about his life on Earth. Jake answered as best he could, but he felt like he was failing some kind of test. After the meal, Queen Lyra took Jake to a new room. This one was filled with images that hovered in the air, images of blue-skinned aliens in elaborate clothes, images of strange buildings and landscapes. "This is the history room," Queen Lyra said. "It contains the recorded history of our people." She touched one of the images and it expanded. It showed a group of Stellari standing before a large ship. "This is the first journey," she explained, "when our ancestors left our home world to explore the stars. That was 5,000 Earth years ago." She showed him more images telling the history of her people, how they had settled on 3 different worlds, how they had formed alliances with other alien races, how they had discovered Earth 300 years ago but had chosen to observe rather than contact humans. "Why just watch?" Jake asked. "Why not say hello?" "Humans were not ready," Queen Lyra said. "They were still fighting among themselves, still bound to superstition. We have rules about contact with developing species. And now, humans are advancing quickly. Some among us believe it is time for open contact. Others still think it is too soon." As they moved through the history, they came to more recent images. Jake saw Queen Lyra's father, a stern-looking alien with a large crown. And then he saw himself, or rather Zarek, blue-skinned, tall but with the same eyes. "This was taken at our joining ceremony," Queen Lyra said softly. 3 Earth years before you disappeared." Jake studied the image. Zarek looked happy. He had one arm around Queen Lyra and was smiling at her with obvious love. "We look happy," Jake said. We were, very happy. As Jake stared at the image, something stirred in his mind. A memory. Not from the crystal or the memory stimulator. His own memory. He remembered standing in a grand hall filled with light. Remembered feeling nervous but excited. Remembered seeing Lyra walk toward him in a dress that seemed made of starlight. "I remember the ceremony," Jake whispered. "I remember being nervous because I kept forgetting the words I was supposed to say." Queen Lyra's eyes widened. "Yes. You mixed up part of the oath and said you would be faithful to my crown instead of to our people." Everyone laughed. Jake smiled as more of the memory came back. "And then I said I would be faithful to you and to your crown and to our people and to anything else anyone wanted to add to the list." Queen Lyra laughed. It was the same laugh from his memories. Musical and bright. "Yes. You charmed everyone with that. Even my father, who was so serious, Jake felt dizzy. This was a real memory, not something planted in his mind, not something shown to him. A genuine memory of being Zarek. I need to sit down. Queen Lyra guided him to a bench. Are you all right? I think I believe you now. I think I am Zarek, but I am still Jake too. It is very confusing. The human doctors gave you strong medicine that changed your body and affected your mind. It will take time to sort out what is real. Jake looked at the image of himself as Zarek again. What happened after the ceremony? Queen Lyra sat beside him. We lived in the royal palace. You continued your scientific work. I began learning how to rule from my father. We were planning to have children when the time was right. And then your father died? Yes, 2 Earth years after our joining. There was an illness that swept through our people. He was one of many who did not survive. And the council wanted your brother to rule instead of you. Queen Lyra nodded. Tyr's older than me, but he has always been more interested in military matters than in governing. My father saw that I had the better temperament for leadership. He named me as his successor, and I supported you. You spoke for me in the council. You reminded them of our laws and traditions. You were very persuasive. Jake smiled slightly. I was on the debate team in high school. I guess that part of me stayed the same. Queen Lyra looked confused. Debate team? A group that practices arguing points in a structured way. We compete against other schools. Jake shook his head. But that memory might not be real. It may be, Queen Lyra said. The human doctors would have created a past for you based on your personality and skills. What feels natural to you would be built into your new identity. That made sense to Jake. His human life had always felt comfortable but somehow incomplete, like wearing clothes that mostly fit but were made for someone else. What happened after you became queen? When did I disappear? Queen Lyra's face grew sad. There were those who opposed my rule, a small faction led by Lord Kor, one of the council members. They attempted to force me to step down. When that failed, they targeted you. They knew that without your support, I would be vulnerable. They tried to kill me? Yes, there was an explosion in your laboratory. We thought you had died, but no body was found. I never gave up hope that you had somehow survived. And 5 years later, here I am. Jake gestured to his human body. Different, but alive. Queen Lyra took his hand. Yes, and I am so grateful. Her touch sent a warmth through Jake that felt familiar and right. He did not pull away. They spent the rest of the day in the history room with Queen Lyra telling Jake stories about their people and their life together. With each story, more memories surfaced in Jake's mind. Small things. The taste of a favorite food. The sound of a particular song. The feel of the palace gardens on a warm day. By the time they went to dinner, Jake was feeling more and more like Zarek, but also still like Jake. It was as if he were two people sharing one body and mind. Dinner was with Queen Lyra's advisors again. Tyr watched Jake with suspicious eyes throughout the meal. My sister says you are remembering, Tyr said at one point. What exactly do you remember? Jake met his gaze. I remember the joining ceremony. I remember speaking to the council on Lyra's behalf. I remember parts of our life together. Convenient memories, Tyr said. Just enough to establish your claim as Zarek, but not enough to be tested on details. Tyr. Queen Lyra's voice was sharp.
Jake is not claiming anything.
He is trying to understand who he is. And who are you? Tyr asked Jake directly. Zarek or this human Jake? Jake considered the question. Both, I think. For now, at least, I have memories and feelings from both lives. And when we return home, will you take your place as king consort? Will you rule alongside my sister? Jake felt the weight of the question. I do not know yet. I need more time. Tyr leaned back in his chair. Time is running out. We leave Earth orbit in 5 days. The council expects answers when we return. After dinner, Jake returned to his quarters alone. His head was full of memories and questions. He lay on the bed and tried to sort through his thoughts. He was starting to believe he really was Zarek. The memories felt too real to be fake. And why would these aliens go to so much trouble to trick him? What would they gain? But he was also still Jake Miller. He remembered growing up in a small town in Ohio. Remembered his parents who had died in a car accident when he was in college. Remembered his first job and his first apartment. Were those memories real or implanted? It was impossible to know for sure. As he was thinking, there was a soft sound at his door. He sat up. Come in. The door slid open and Tyre entered. He stood tall and proud, looking down at Jake with those cold eyes. We need to talk, Tyre said. Without my sister present, Jake stood to face him. Even in his human form, he felt a strength and confidence he had not felt before. What about? About your intentions. What do you plan to do when we return home? I have not decided yet. Your sister has given me time to remember and to choose. Tyr stepped closer. Let me be clear. If you return with us, you will be expected to take your place as king consort, to rule alongside my sister, to help make decisions that affect our entire species. I understand that. Do you? You have lived as a human for 5 years. You think like a human now. How can you possibly understand what is best for our people? Jake felt a flash of anger that seemed to come from Zarek rather than Jake. On the 4th day of his stay on the alien ship, Jake woke feeling different. The memories of Zarek were stronger now, more integrated with his human memories. When he looked in the mirror, his human face seemed wrong somehow. He kept expecting to see blue skin and silver eyes. After breakfast with Queen Lyra, she took him to the science laboratory where Nara, the chief scientist, was waiting. We have been studying your condition, Nara said. Her voice was softer than Queen Lyra's, but precise. The human treatments have changed your cellular structure, but not completely. Your Stellari DNA is still present, just suppressed. Can it be reversed? Jake asked, surprised to find that he wanted it to be possible. Theoretically, yes, Nara said. We could use genetic therapy to reactivate your original DNA patterns. It would take time, but you could return to your Stellari form. And my memories? The ones I lost? Those too might return more fully if your brain chemistry returns to its natural state. But I cannot promise complete recovery. Jake looked at Queen Lyra. What do you think? It is your choice, she said. I love you in any form, but I believe you were happier as Zarek than you are as Jake. Jake thought about his life on Earth. It had been fine, comfortable, but there had always been something missing, a sense of purpose, a feeling of belonging, things he was finding here among the Stellari. If I did this, would I lose my human memories? Would Jake disappear? Nara considered the question. I do not believe so. Those neural pathways are established now. You would still remember your life as Jake, but your Stellari memories would likely become stronger. How long would it take? The initial treatment would take several days. The full transformation would require weeks. Jake nodded, thinking, Can I have some time to decide? Of course, Queen Lyra said. But remember, we leave Earth orbit in 4 days. The treatment could begin on the journey home, Nara said, if that is what you choose. After leaving the laboratory, Queen Lyra took Jake to a room he had not seen before. It was small but comfortable, with seats facing a large screen. This is a communication room, she explained. We can speak with our homeworld from here. She touched a panel and the screen lit up. After a moment, an older female Stellari appeared. She had the same silver eyes as Queen Lyra, but darker blue skin. Mother, Queen Lyra said warmly, I have someone here you will want to see. She moved Jake in front of the screen. The older Stellari gasped, her hand going to her mouth. Zarek? Her voice trembled. Is it really you? Jake felt a surge of recognition. This was Lyra's mother. His mother-in-law. He remembered her kindness to him when he had first joined the royal family. Hello, Lady Sora, he said, the name coming to him without thought. I am told it is me, though I look different now. Lady Sora's eyes filled with tears. Your eyes are the same. I would know them anywhere. Oh, my son, we thought we had lost you. I was lost, Jake said softly, but your daughter found me. They spoke for a while, with Lady Sora telling him news of home and Jake sharing what he remembered. It was strange but also comforting. This woman clearly cared for him, considered him family. After the call ended, Queen Lyra looked at Jake with curiosity. You remembered my mother's name? Yes, and other things about her. How she always brought sweet cakes when she visited us. How she taught you to sing the old songs. Queen Lyra smiled. Your memories are returning more quickly now. They are. It is like the more I remember, the easier it becomes to remember more. They spent the rest of the day in various parts of the ship. Queen Lyra showed Jake the engine room where strange crystals pulsed with energy. She showed him the weapon systems, though she assured him they were only for defense. She showed him the living quarters where the crew stayed, much smaller than the royal apartments but still comfortable. Everywhere they went, The Stellari crew bowed to them and looked at Jake with hope in their eyes. They were expecting him to return with them to take his place beside Queen Lyra. The weight of their expectations pressed on him. That evening, there was a formal dinner with all the high-ranking officers and council members aboard the ship. Jake was seated next to Queen Lyra at the head of a long table. The food was elaborate, dishes he now remembered from state functions on their homeworld. During the meal, Elder Zara addressed him directly. "Prince Zarek, we are pleased to see your memories returning. The council will be relieved to know you will be resuming your duties when we return." Jake hesitated. "I have not decided yet if I will return with you." A hush fell over the table. Elder Zara's pale blue face darkened slightly. "Surely there is no decision to make. You are Stellari. You are the Queen's consort. Your place is with us." Jake felt all eyes on him. "My situation is complicated. I have lived as a human for 5 years. I have a life there. A false life," Elder Vex said dismissively. "Created by humans who did not understand who you were." "It may have started that way," Jake said, "but it became real to me." "It is still real to me." Queen Lyra placed her hand over his. "Jake needs more time. We will not pressure him." Tyr spoke up from further down the table. "Time is running out, sister. The council expects us to return with a clear answer about Zarek's status. They will get their answer when Jake is ready to give it," Queen Lyra said firmly. The dinner continued with tension in the air. Jake could feel the expectations of everyone around him. They all wanted him to be Zarek again, to return with them and help rule their people. But was that what he wanted? After dinner, Queen Lyra walked with Jake back to his quarters. They stopped by the large window overlooking Earth. "I am sorry about the council members," she said. "They do not understand how difficult this is for you." "Do you understand?" Jake asked. "Truly?" Queen Lyra was silent for a moment. "I am trying to. I know you feel torn between two worlds, two identities. I know you need time, but you want me to choose your world. To be Zarek again." "Yes," she admitted. "I want my husband back. I want the man I love to return home with me." Jake looked at Earth glowing blue and green below them. "And what about what I want?" "What do you want, Jake, or Zarek? What does your heart tell you?" Jake closed his eyes. Inside him, two sets of memories and feelings competed for attention. Jake Miller with his quiet life on Earth, and Zarek, prince consort, scientist, and husband to a queen. "I do not know yet," he said honestly. "Both lives feel real to me. Both have things I value." Queen Lyra nodded, though her eyes were sad. "Then you must follow your heart. Whatever you choose, know that I love you. I always will." She leaned forward and kissed him gently on the cheek, then left him alone with his thoughts. Back in his quarters, Jake paced restlessly. His mind was a battlefield of competing memories and identities. He tried to sort through them logically. What did he have on Earth? A small apartment. A job that paid the bills but did not excite him. A few casual friends, a cat that would probably be fine with the neighbor who already watched him when Jake traveled. What did he have here? A position of importance, work that mattered, people who respected him, and Lyra, who loved him deeply. As he thought about Lyra, more memories surfaced. Their first meeting at a scientific conference. Their courtship, formal at first, then growing more intimate. The day he had asked permission from her father to join with her. The ceremony itself filled with light and music, and he remembered loving her, deeply and completely, the kind of love that humans wrote songs and poems about. Did he still love her? The Jake part of him found her beautiful and fascinating. The Zarek part of him loved her without question. Together, those feelings were powerful and real. Jake lay on the bed and closed his eyes. He needed to make a decision soon. The ship would leave Earth orbit in a few days. He had to choose which world he belonged in. As he drifted to sleep, his dreams were filled with images from both lives. Jake Miller walking through the streets of his hometown. Zarek standing beside Queen Lyra as she addressed her people. Two lives. Two identities. One man caught between them. The next morning, Jake woke to an urgent chiming. Maya's voice came through a speaker. "Jake, your presence is requested in the command center immediately." Jake dressed quickly in Stellari clothes and followed Maya through the ship. Crew members were moving with purpose, some looking worried. In the command center, Queen Lyra stood with Tyr and Kel, the military commander. They were looking at a large screen that showed another ship approaching. "What is happening?" Jake asked. Queen Lyra turned to him, her face serious. We have detected another ship entering Earth orbit. It is Stellari, but not one of ours. Not one of yours? I do not understand. Tyr spoke in a grim voice. It belongs to Lord Kor. Jake felt a chill. He remembered now. Lord Kor had led the faction opposed to Queen Lyra's rule. The ones who had tried to kill him. How did he find us? Jake asked. We do not know, Kel said. But they are hailing us. Queen Lyra straightened her shoulders. Put them through. The screen changed to show an older male Stellari with dark blue skin and cold eyes. Jake recognized him immediately. Lord Kor had been on the council for many years. Had always opposed progressive policies. Queen Lyra, Lord Kor said with a slight nod that was barely respectful. What a surprise to find you in Earth orbit. Is it? Queen Lyra's voice was cool. I filed our flight plan with the council before we left. Queen Lyra took Jake to the medical bay where Nara was waiting. The chief scientist had prepared for this possibility and had a treatment plan ready. The process has 3 phases, Nara explained as Jake lay on a medical bed. First, we will give you treatments to suppress the human DNA that has become dominant. Second, we will stimulate your original Stellari DNA to reactivate. Third, we will help your body rebuild itself according to its original pattern. How long will it take? Jake asked. The initial phases will take 3 days. The complete transformation will take several weeks. But you will begin to see changes within hours of the first treatment. Jake looked at Queen Lyra. Will you stay with me? She took his hand. Of course. Nara began the treatment. She placed a device on Jake's chest that glowed with soft blue light. This will introduce specialized nanobots into your system. They will identify and suppress the altered human DNA. Jake felt a warm sensation spread through his body. It was not painful, just strange. Like pins and needles, but pleasant. Now rest, Nara said. The first phase takes several hours. Queen Lyra sat beside him as he closed his eyes. Her hand in his was an anchor as his body began to change. Jake drifted in and out of sleep. Each time he woke, more memories of his life as Zarek surfaced. He remembered scientific discoveries he had made. Remembered policies he had helped shape. Remembered quiet moments with Lyra away from the demands of ruling. And as his mind became more Stellari, his heart followed. He felt his love for Lyra growing stronger. Not just the fascination Jake had felt for her, but the deep, committed love Zarek had carried for years. After several hours, Nara returned to check his progress. She scanned him with a device that projected his DNA structure into the air above him. The treatment is working well, she said. The human DNA is receding. Your original patterns are beginning to reassert themselves. Jake looked at his hands. The skin seemed slightly different. Not blue yet, but with a faint bluish undertone. I feel strange, he said. Like my skin is too tight. That is normal, Nara assured him. Your body is beginning to remember its true form. The next phase of treatment involved a bath in a glowing liquid that Nara said would speed the transformation. As Jake immersed himself, the liquid seemed to seep into his skin. It tingled but was not unpleasant. After the bath, Jake looked in a mirror. His eyes had begun to change, the brown fading as silver began to show around the edges. His face looked subtly different too, the bones shifting slightly to a more Stellari structure. You are coming back to me, Queen Lyra said softly. Over the next 2 days, the changes accelerated. Jake's skin gradually shifted from human pink to pale blue. His limbs lengthened slightly. His eyes became fully silver. By the end of the 3rd day, he looked like a Stellari, though not yet fully like Zarek. The final phase will take longer, Nara explained. Your body needs time to complete the transformation. But the essential changes have been made. Your DNA is now primarily Stellari again. And with the physical changes, the mental transformation continued. Jake's memories of Earth remained, but they felt more distant now. Like a story he had read rather than a life he had lived. The memories of Zarek were clear and immediate. On the day they were scheduled to leave Earth orbit, Jake stood with Queen Lyra in the command center. He wore formal Stellari clothes that now fit his changed body properly. His blue skin was still paler than most Stellari, but he looked like one of them now. Lord Kor's ship remained nearby, a constant reminder of the political challenges that awaited them at home. Are you ready? Queen Lyra asked. Jake nodded. I am. He took one last look at Earth on the view screen. His time as Jake Miller seemed like a dream now. A pleasant dream in some ways, but not his real life. His real life was here, with Lyra and their people. "Begin departure sequence," Queen Lyra ordered. The ship hummed as engines powered up. Jake felt a moment of sadness as Earth grew smaller on the screen. But it passed quickly. He was going home. As the ship accelerated away from Earth, Lord Kor's vessel moved to follow them. Kel kept a close watch on it, suspicious of any aggressive movements. "They are maintaining distance," Kel reported, "but they are definitely following us." "Let them," Queen Lyra said. "We have nothing to hide." Jake spent the journey continuing his treatments with Nara and preparing for their return home. Queen Lyra's advisors briefed him on events of the past 5 years, political situations he would need to understand, new policies that had been implemented. With each passing day, Jake felt more like Zarek and less like Jake. His body continued to change, becoming more fully Stellari. And his mind integrated more of Zarek's memories and knowledge. Tyr surprisingly became an ally during this time. He seemed to have accepted that Jake was truly Zarek and helped him prepare for the political challenges ahead. "Kor will try to use your transformation against you," Tyr warned during one briefing session. "He will question whether you are truly Zarek or just a human altered to look Stellari. How do I counter that?" Jake asked. With knowledge only Zarek would have. Personal details about council members, scientific discoveries you made before your disappearance, private moments with my sister that no one else witnessed. Jake nodded. His memories were full of such details now. "I am ready." After 7 days of travel, they approached their homeworld. It was a beautiful planet with 2 small moons. Much of the surface was covered in water that glowed slightly from bioluminescent organisms. The land masses were largely covered in forests with crystal formations rising here and there. Jake remembered it all. Remembered the smell of the air, the feel of the light from the yellow sun on his skin, the sound of the singing forest in the wind. "Home," he said softly. Queen Lyra squeezed his hand. "Yes, our home." As they prepared to land, reports came in from the surface. News of Zarek's return had spread. Crowds were gathering at the landing site. The full council was waiting to meet them. "They will want proof," Tyr warned again. "Be prepared." Jake dressed in formal royal attire. It felt familiar now, the cut and materials natural against his blue skin. Queen Lyra wore her full royal regalia, including her crown of office. "How do I look?" Jake asked as they prepared to disembark. Queen Lyra smiled at him. "Like my husband." "Like Zarek." They walked side by side down the ramp of the ship and onto the soil of their homeworld. The air was sweet and warm. Crowds of Stellari lined the pathway, murmuring as they saw Jake. At the end of the path stood the council members, 12 elder Stellari in formal robes. Lord Kor stood among them, having arrived just before them in his faster ship. Queen Lyra, the oldest council member, greeted her with a bow. "We welcome your return." "Thank you, Elder Mara," Queen Lyra replied. "I bring with me my husband, Prince Zarek, who was lost but now is found." All eyes turned to Jake. He could feel the skepticism from some, particularly those aligned with Lord Kor. Lord Kor stepped forward. "We are asked to believe that this is Prince Zarek. After 5 years, after a remarkable transformation from human to Stellari." "I am Zarek," Jake said firmly. His voice sounded right in his ears now, the deeper tones of a Stellari male. "I was injured in the explosion at my laboratory, an explosion your faction arranged. I crashed on Earth and was changed by human medicine. But I have returned to my true form and true home." Lord Kor's eyes narrowed. "Words anyone could say. We require proof." "What proof would satisfy you?" Queen Lyra asked. "Let him submit to a full genetic scan," Lord Kor said, "and let him answer questions that only the true Zarek would know." "I accept," Jake said before Queen Lyra could respond. "I have nothing to hide." The council led them to the great hall of the royal palace. Jake remembered this place. Remembered standing here when Lyra was crowned queen. Remembered addressing the people from the balcony outside. Medical technicians performed the genetic scan while the council watched. The results were projected for all to see. "The subject is primarily Stellari," the chief technician announced, "with traces of human DNA integrated into the genome. This is consistent with his account of being altered and then restored." Lord Kor looked dissatisfied, but moved on to the questioning. "If you are truly Prince Zarek, tell us what scientific discovery you presented to the Academy 3 cycles before your disappearance." Jake smiled. He remembered it clearly now. "I presented findings on cross-species genetic compatibility. specifically how Stellari DNA could adapt to environments on other worlds. My research suggested that our people could potentially evolve to live on worlds very different from our own. Elder Mara looked impressed. That is correct. And what gift did you give Queen Lyra on the day of her coronation? A crystal from the Singing Caves carved with our 2 genetic patterns intertwined. It hangs in our private chamber. Queen Lyra nodded confirmation. The questions continued, ranging from personal details to scientific knowledge to political positions Jake had taken. He answered them all correctly, drawing on Zarek's memories that were now fully available to him. Finally, Lord Kor asked the most challenging question. If you are truly Zarek, tell us who was present at the last meeting you attended before your disappearance. A private meeting regarding security concerns. Jake closed his eyes, searching his memory. He saw a room with 5 people. You were there, Lord Kor, as was Commander Vel of the Royal Guard. Elder Tarn was present, and Queen Lyra, of course.